So we are here for the inaugural episode of the Energetic Automators tool series. So how this series is different is that we are speaking to founders and creators and people who have developed really, really awesome tools that I personally think are really beneficial to people I'm working with, or just to coaches and consultants who want to expand in different directions and find other ways to save time and grow their business. So firstly, I'm with Rick Elmore of Simply Noted. So firstly, thanks so much for taking the time today.
Thank you so much, Gavin, for having me. I'm excited to be here.
And just to give a bit of an intro to what Simply Noted is and does, and then I'll pass it over to Rick to tell us a bit more, is that Simply Noted allows you to do automated handwritten notes. So actual handwritten notes and cards that you can send to people without you having to touch it, which I think is pretty awesome. And I was speaking to Rick quite a bit before we started recording, and I was like, we need to start recording now because it's going in. The questions that were coming up are really, really awesome. So, I mean, Rick, I'm just going to pass it over to you to tell us a little bit about the 3-year journey you've been on with Simply Noted, and then we can just riff it from there.
Awesome. Yeah, so I have a background in corporate medical sales. Before that, I was a college and professional athlete. So if you would have asked me 15 years ago if this is what I would be doing in my mid 30s, I would have had no idea. But I went back in 2017, pursued my MBA, and during a marketing class, that's when the idea of Simply Noted began. I had a marketing professor who was going over the success rates of marketing. And I was in sales, and I was always trying to apply everything that I was learning from my program into what I was doing. And everything was super marginal. Emails were super low, direct mail, cold calling, knocking doors, everything was super marginal. And my professor just with like an offhanded comment, and he was an older gentleman. And, from how we grew up kind of before the internet a little bit and before cell phones. We all used to write handwritten notes. And the professor said, hey guys, just to remember, what still works today is a good old fashioned handwritten note. It has a 99% open rate. No one does it anymore.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that's a no brainer. But I had a portfolio of 400 clients. And I was like, there's just no way that I can sit down with how we lived, 2021 or 2017 back then, the busy, crazy life, and actually find the time to write 400 thank you notes or 400 holiday cards. So I just got to work and started researching. There's a cohort classmate of myself and myself. We got together and found some technology in China. It was like a 3-axis plotter technology. Worked with a mail house here locally in Arizona, and just started asking a lot of questions and talking to a lot of people. And fast forward 3.5 years later, we're surpassing about $3 million in revenue. We have well over 700 clients. We just surpassed it, sending 1 million handwritten notes in April of this year. So things have been going pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's also my background in, I've also been learning a lot myself about marketing and outreach and all these various mediums. And when I started looking at your case studies and examples in your website, by the way, everyone check out the website because there's really clearly laid out kind of use cases and different interesting situations. But for me, it jumped out straight away, how you can use this type of thing. It's I remember when I get handwritten postcards from people when I'm traveling, we're like, hey, let's send each other postcards. It's exciting to get a postcard. And I don't even remember the last time I got physical mail. So it's I will check that no matter what. And it's the thought of, like you said, you say onboard a client and you set it up that they instantly get just a thank you card. Hey, we're really excited to welcome you to the family type of thing. Or here's a postcard plus you send a separate kind of welcome gift or something. I'm not sure if you guys are focused on that, but it's this was so many obvious ways for this that jumped out to me to build relationships or just do kind of outreach to people you've never met before for some reason.
Yeah. I originally started this company thinking it'd be more of a business development marketing tool, but over the last 3.5 years, our company really is a thank you card company. And it's the appreciation and the relationship that these companies are trying to build with their employees or their clients or their one-time customers or repeat customers. It's really just about the relationship. And especially in 2021, when we're all just so inundated with emails and text messages and Slack channel, Twitter, all these social media, norms, right? It's just everything is just complete like distractions and noise. And I think the average person here in the States receives less than 5 handwritten notes a year. I think the average person receives over 150 emails a day, right? Not to talk about text messages and everything else. So, like you said earlier, just to go to your mailbox, and I'm the same way. If I see a handwritten note, I don't even look at anything else that I got. I go straight to that handwritten note. I look at who it's from. Now it's different. I examine it different because of the profession that I'm in. But it's all appreciation, and it's a passion project. I love pen to paper. I love that stamp on that envelope. It's just the nostalgia in it. I grew up in an era when we did that. So, and I think that's what our clients see as well when they use us, for their clients. Their clients appreciate it. So, we're really here. We're a relationship building company, but we have a tech side. We're a handwritten note company, but really what we've done has built a platform to make it easy for businesses to automate sending handwritten notes or sending, thousands or tens of thousands of handwritten notes custom, as fast as it is to send an email. So yeah, it's been a pretty crazy journey. Again, I had no background in this. I really had to just figure it out. It was trial by fire. And I would say it's been an insane journey for the last 3 years.
Yeah, and just to touch on the automation part that you mentioned, because you guys also have integrations with Zapier, which I'm sure most people have come across the name at least once or twice. They're kind of like the go-to in regards to like automation, setting up processes. And the moment you have that support, you can, like the ways you can use something like this, I'm sure you've probably seen some really interesting like examples and ways people have used it so far.
So Zapier is one of the most amazing tools. If you're in business, you run an e-commerce brand or playing a CRM or any type of software, and you want to be more efficient, if you're not using Zapier, you're doing yourself a disservice. Like I discovered Zapier a few years ago, and it allowed me to be 10 times more efficient in my day-to-day work, just being able to automate things. And that's what Zapier does. It allows you to automate, menial, like normal tasks and let softwares communicate by sending information back and forth based off of triggers, and you set up actions and all this stuff and sequences and workflows. And it's a really cool software. But that completely changed our business, not only on the productivity side, but on the sales side, because now that we have a Zapier application, any company that works within those 3,000 or 4,000 softwares that Zapier works in, we can integrate and automate sending, a card for almost any reason. So, for say like an e-commerce brand, an online shopping store, if you want to automate sending a thank you card or, an anniversary card, you can do that with just that Shopify integration through Zapier, and it's done automatically and it's sent on your behalf. It's real pen, it's real ink. You can have your custom stationery with a real stamp. It's phenomenal. I mean, it's a really cool platform. The technology is awesome. And at the very lowest level, I mean, you're getting a physical, personalized, genuine handwritten piece of mail. And it's really cool. It's really cool.
Yeah, I was just thinking you could also, I remember I spoke to someone a while back. This was kind of unrelated, but the ideas are kind of joining together for me. It's like, if possible, you could almost print also include a QR code on some of the letters, and then that goes to like a welcome video. So it's like the letter, like, hey, Dave, thanks for joining. We're so excited to be working together. Watch this video, scan this QR code, and get a welcome message from myself personally or something like that. Like you can do so many creative things with it when you start thinking about it.
Yeah, and that's one of the fun things about this job is you come across so many like, beautiful minds, people that are really creative, and they come to us with really awesome ideas.
Yeah.
We've actually done campaigns like that for people who are trying to, win people back, who haven't bought in a certain amount of time. So what they would do is actually set up a personalized QR code. So they would send, 1,000 cards. There'd be 1,000 personalized QR codes So if someone actually scanned it, they can track what person actually scanned it. So they can
Yeah.
actually like narrow it down to the exact person that showed a little bit of interest if they didn't call. So then they can retarget them. So it's really cool. If you have a marketing mind and you understand APIs and Zapier, you can really understand
Yeah.
how this can fit into your marketing stack. And I don't think this replaces anything that anybody else does. I just think this is a very valuable tool that you can put in your tool belt that just can't be replaced by anything else that you're doing. So it's just something that stands in its own category, but that you can just add to your marketing stack.
Yeah, no, it's like the thing you mentioned about the personalized QR code, so you literally know who opened. Like on one hand, my mind is like it blows my mind. I'm like, it's truly insane that we can do those type of things these days, which can be a bit extreme at times, but I'm also like, that's so powerful. It's like
Mm-hmm.
with that type of control, not control, but with that type of insight, you can also use that just to give people the best possible experience. Like if you
Yeah.
know no one's really scanning a QR code for maybe a free something that you give them when they sign up, it's like, okay, let's swap it out and give something people actually want. Like it lets you get those
Yeah.
insights as well.
Well, that's the thing. We live in 2021, a data revolution. And when you're sending a piece of mail, through the post office, it's really hard to track things. Unlike you can track open rates with emails, you can track open rates with text messages, but it's really hard to track that. So when you're talking about QR code, you can get really creative, and you can set up some really creative campaigns based off just the trigger of someone scanning that QR code. If it's a follow-up phone call or triggering an email, but yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can track mail, but it's through QR codes or call-in numbers or landing pages. It's a little bit more work, but I
Yeah.
think if you gather the data, it's absolutely worth it. It just takes a little bit more effort.
Yeah. I mean, that's for me, that's where my mind's gone a lot lately is that, yeah, it's cool to do all these things, but unless you can kind of track the results, I mean, you need to track the results just so you can know, okay, how do we improve on next time? Or, okay, we did this other thing, and it's actually a worse experience now. So it's like being able to track that stuff for me, it's like integral in making good informed decisions of how to improve the experience.
So I think, as much as it is about tracking that stuff, there's just something that is immeasurable, and that's a relationship. I think you can measure that over time through like the lifetime value of a client or how many referrals you get or how your
Yeah.
organic business grows. But there's just something about, what is it? It's the law of reciprocity or reciprocity.
Yeah.
And, by just showing someone that you're appreciative of them or just thanking them, um, they enjoy that. And it's really, if you think it's so simple, but businesses don't do that anymore. They send an automated email
Mm.
or they send a cheesy automated text message, right? And it's just like, if you buy something from an online retailer and you get something from them written in pen and ink, like you're going to be a loyal customer for life,
Mm.
or you're going to tell your friends about it, or you're going to take a picture because it's so rare and post it on your social media if it's from a brand that you really like, right? So then now there comes a bit of a virality, of these handwritten notes, and you're getting extended marketing that you're not even paying for.
Yeah.
So I mean, I could talk days about just why handwritten notes matter, why just saying thank you matters. I mean, why you shouldn't just, I mean, you should just be using these for thank yous and showing people you appreciate them, um, outside of marketing. But yeah, I mean, this is still my passion project. I'm still in the warehouse, 11, 12 o'clock at night when we're busy, and I just watch these writing robots go to work, and I'm still mesmerized by it. I'm amazed at where we've come in 3 years and what this technology does and how we help companies spread their personal touch.
I was just thinking because like I add a lot of pretty much if I meet someone and I kind of find out their birthday for some reason, if I know I'm going to see them again, I'll add that birthday to my calendar. I was just thinking
Mhm.
like you could so easily just set it up that you send people a personalized happy birthday like every year, even if it's just not even business related. It's just like, oh, I was thinking about you, happy birthday from Bali, happy birthday from
Yeah.
wherever.
Yeah, so that's actually probably out of all of our online orders, we have a like a birthday automation tool like on our website. So you can just upload all your friends, your customers, like birthdays on our website, and we'll send a like automated handwritten birthday card for you.
That's sick.
That's
Yeah, I
probably
mean,
about, 20, almost 25-30% of our online orders.
crazy. So what's
Yeah.
besides the birthdays? You said thank yous were quite big, and then what other like
I'm telling you,
interesting,
yeah.
what other
Yeah, we
interesting
wrote
kind
this.
of use cases you've seen so far?
So, we just wrote a pretty good blog article about what I learned sending 1 million like handwritten notes. And the majority, I'm telling you, it's just thank yous and appreciation. I think businesses really get that. But I would say the second biggest use case for us is just prospecting. It's just, you think of the executive door openers, so EDOs. That's really something that's hard in today's day and age because everybody's just so inundated with asks. It's just so easy to get in front of somebody now through LinkedIn or social media DMs, right? It's just really hard to stand out. So I would say after, thank yous and appreciation, it's just prospecting, trying to open a conversation. Plus, I have a sales background, so it's really easy for me to talk to my client just about how valuable that is just to start a conversation.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, outside the automation, we do a lot of stuff with Zapier, but again, it's just thank yous and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, I would say it's thank yous, appreciation, prospecting, and then all the technology. So APIs, Zapier integrations, and then our website. Yeah, our website, we're starting to pick up and get a pretty healthy amount of business on a daily basis. So yeah, I would say that's what most people use this for.
Yeah, I mean, truly though, on the Zapier side, because that's what I do, is like I help people with their Zapier setups and automations in various creative ways. And I mean, just when you think about how many apps there are on that platform, and then like all the different ways you could integrate with Simply Noted, it's like mind blowing. It really, really is mind blowing.
hmm It really is. I mean, you got to have the mind to really think about it, but the more you dive in, like you just got to go down the rabbit hole of Zapier, and the longer you go down, like your tunnel vision goes to, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, like how valuable is this? Oh, I can plug this in everywhere. I can automate everything. It's just, yeah, I had that realization like after 6 months of really like playing with it, and I was like, man, this is a game changer. Yeah, if your listeners, if they haven't checked it out, they need to check it out. Like I'm not affiliated whatsoever with them, except for they are ingrained in my business everywhere,
Yeah.
and they help me work with other clients everywhere. But yeah, I really do think if people are in business and they have software, they're not using it, they're doing themselves a disservice
Disservice,
for
yeah.
sure.
No, Zapier doesn't even have an affiliate
Yeah,
program, so it's just like you're just bringing it up because you love
yeah,
it so much. I mean, I was just thinking
yeah.
for people watching and listening, and I know it's going to go to your audience as well. It's like the most like simple way you could get introduced to Zapier and using Simply Noted is like we talk about onboarding. So I always recommend people using an onboarding form of some sort. Like, great, we sign the person, we just get them to fill out a couple of things that we need from them, like their name, their links to various things that we need. And then when that form
hmm
gets submitted, just send them a like we're saying, hey, welcome to the team. We're really excited to have you type of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
hmm
or I don't know, maybe because I've just worked with a client who does like animal shows like in person, like they're an animal conservation group, and we set up SMS review type things. But we also made it that when the reviews come in, if it's like a 9+ or like an NPS score of 9+, like really good experience, send it them like, hey, we so thankful you had an awesome experience. Here's like a thank you card from us type of thing.
Yeah.
Like there's already so
Yeah.
many obvious and simple use cases in my mind to get started with this.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing. It's just having the mindset that even think about you should do that. And automating a thank you card is not in anybody's mind because you just don't think you can do it. And that's
Yeah.
really been the hardest thing. Um, you know, and again, going back to what we were talking about before this, like just what we've had to do to get our company to where we are today, it's just leaps and bounds. It's galaxies away from all of what I thought it was going to be. It's so much more
Yeah.
in depth. There's just so much technology in it. But at the end of the day, we're selling a new product. We're selling a new idea, a new product, and a new service to a new client. It's not like I'm walking into, you know, customers walking into a car dealer trying to buy a car. He knows what he wants. Like I'm trying to explain what we do, how we do it, how you should do it, right?
Mm.
And it's like it's a weird hard sale because people just don't even know this technology exists,
Yeah.
and So it's never a thought process. It's like, oh, we should send them a thank you card, but they think they have to do it. And really, we can just help you do it. And
Mhm.
most people just think it's going to be printed. They don't know it's actually pen written or handwritten. So
Yeah.
that's the hardest thing we've had, is just educating people on the service and how to use it. And people are still new to Zapier, even though it's been around for a decade. It's really just becoming mainstream, over the last couple of years.
Mm.
Everybody's starting to know about it, but you still have to walk them through it, help them set them up, make sure, if it's a new product, new service, new customer, new idea. So it's been a challenge for sure, but that's how it is, when you have new ideas. Um, it takes a lot of effort to push new things off the ground.
I think it would be cool for people to hear a bit more about that. So you start the idea, you said you were looking for machinery over in the East and you kind of seen what options you had. From there, like how did you start then kind of not knocking on doors, but how did you kind of start reaching out to people to say like, hey, I think this is going to be really useful. Like how did those conversations go for you at the start?
Yeah, so I mean, I have a very competitive background. So I played college and professional sports. So having a chip on my shoulder, a very competitive edge, is something that's just always been ingrained in my DNA.
Hmm.
I've always been super competitive. And then I got into sales. I was in corporate sales for 6 years. And so that's where I really got the ability to hone in and really, develop my marketing and sales skills. I got to work at two really large corporate medical sales companies here in the States and learned a lot. And yeah, and then I went back and did my MBA and learned a lot about just, finance and marketing, just strategies, not really anything super technical, but just really opened my eyes to new ideas. And it wasn't something that happened overnight. And I think that's the problem. I mean, if you listen to any radio show or podcast out there, and you're going to hear a lot of people say the same thing. It takes 10 years to become an overnight success. And
Mm.
that's what's wrong with social media. It's just like people post their their wins, but they don't post their failures. And there's a lot
Yeah.
more failures than there is wins. And that's something for me. I've been able to move from failure to failure to failure without losing my enthusiasm, because I just
Mm.
love this technology. I'm so passionate about it. It is so cool. I think we're solving a real problem. So it doesn't matter if I have a bad day or a bad week or a bad month. Like, I'm
Mm.
still super excited about this. I'm fired up about it. I love it. Again, I'm passionate about it. So if like you can find something like that, and plus you got to have some skills and some time to develop in your background. But if you can find anything like that, you don't need an MBA. Like, you don't need, some crazy degree to be successful in anything that you're doing. You just need
Mm.
that drive, that passion, that energy, and not the motivation. You got to have drive and like be able to persevere. Like, motivation is, weak. That comes and goes. Like, to be driven is something that a lot of people don't understand they need to have to be successful. So
Mm.
yeah, I was just super excited about the technology. I wanted to make it work really bad. I thought the problem that we were trying to solve was worth all the energy and the risk to do it, because I
Mm.
thought that was something that needed to be done. Because I knew what it meant to me to receive a handwritten note. I
Mm.
knew what it meant to other people to receive a handwritten note. It was dying. And it just, you never saw it anymore. So I thought it was just a good opportunity to build a business around a model to help people send one, two thousands or automate sending real handwritten notes. So yeah, I mean, that's the little background on it. But yeah, I just think, if you're passionate about something, you want it bad enough, you're going to make it happen.
Yeah. Was there kind of a consistency in the like like the people who kind of first joined up, like the first, I don't know, 50, 100 users, was there kind of like a consistency in their backgrounds, like they were using it for X or they were using it for Y or they were in property or anything like that?
So something I'm really proud of, there's like no nepotism in my business whatsoever, no family, no friends. Everything that all our business has been 100% earned. So, and I
Mm.
know some people see it differently, like you should ask your family or friends, but I wanted to prove that this business was a business that could work. So I wanted to go out there and earn it. But our first clients, you know what? We were just trying to make it work so bad like 3 years ago. I'd be lying to you if I could tell you exactly how they were using it, but I think we had some people using it. I mean, I'd be lying to you if I remember, but I just know like what we were talking about earlier. What most people use it for is, the thank yous and appreciations, and then kind of prospect executive
Mm.
door openers, and then the software stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see that that's consistently been almost like the uses. And I'm sure for you guys as well, that's allowed you to be like, okay,
Yeah,
cool. We want to
and
introduce new things, but it doesn't actually align with the main use cases people are using it for.
yeah, I'll tell you this. Like, if any of your listeners want to be entrepreneurs, like you, when you're early in a company, you find anything that you can sell. So if it's trying to, sell consulting or whatever, you're just trying to find anything to add value to your client, to bring revenue
Yeah.
in, to keep feeding the engine.
Yeah.
Because startups take lots of money. I mean, it takes tons and tons and tons of money. And
Yeah.
so in those early days, it didn't matter if someone asked if we could do it, we were going to do it.
Mm.
And I do remember that. It was just like, yes, 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 yes. And then, as you get older, you start to kind of really just start focusing and niching down. I
Mm.
think to be a successful company, you have to niche down. You can't be everything to everybody. You got to solve one or two problems really well and focus on that niche. And that's what we're starting to do, going into ending year 3, starting year 4, is niching down. And that's all through integrations and automations,
Yeah.
software and tech.
I'm sure in those first, when you were just saying yes to everything, I'm sure there were a few cases where you're like, okay, so how are we actually going to do this now?
Yeah, well, I mean, you have to. I do remember. Yeah, so we did a mailer for a dentist early on, and it was our first time having to go deal with the post office. And if here in the States, the post office is just crazy. There's so many different permits. There's so many different ways to send mail.
Yeah.
You know, how are you going to stuff it? How are you going to stamp it? Is it going to be a printed stamp? Is it going to be a physical stamp? Is it going to be pre-sorted? Is it going to be, first class, pre-canceled? I mean, there's just so many ways to do it. And when you're trying to get, early jobs and early wins, you're trying to find the best possible product at the best possible price at the best possible margin.
Mm.
So like if you made the wrong decision, I mean, you can lose all your profit. And that was things that we were doing early on. So we had a couple large orders early on, and we did like a prospecting mailer for a dentist early on. And I just remember sending in that post office, like, I needed what permits? Like, how many permits do I need just to do this one mailer? Well, I have to fill out all this paper. Oh, it's a $400 permit. Like, I was like, what am I doing? Like,
Yeah.
it was just one of those, situations, it's just, you learn on the job, right? And yeah, everything we've learned over the last 3 years is just by just jumping in with 2 feet. There was no dipping toe. I dipped my toe in this for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but I was forced to jump in 2019, excuse me, full time, because it was growing, at a rate where I just had to give it more attention. But yeah, for 3 years, we literally have just gone all in. It was just, you have to, like, there's no like, oh, let me just kind of try it. Like, you just have to, otherwise you're gonna sink.
Yeah. It's like before you got that deep into the mailing world, you're like, there was like things you didn't know, you didn't even need to know. You're like, oh, is this how everything
Hmm.
works?
Yeah. Oh yeah, and that's building a website. Like, you really
um,
have to reverse engineer your thoughts on building a website. Like, you literally have to start at like the end. Like, all right, so what are we trying to accomplish? Okay, so if we trying to get this, like, where do we
yeah.
need that? Okay, let's work our way backwards. It's just, and then, oh, I need a front end developer, back end developer, full stack developer. Oh, I need a
Yeah.
designer. It's just like, what? Like, you can't do all of this. Like, no, yeah, it's been a journey for sure.
Yeah. Speaking of like you're kind of looking into all the requirements for the US based posting, just for people listening, are you currently limited to the US only, or are you doing worldwide? Are you looking to go worldwide? What's
Yeah,
the plan?
so the only thing we do ship worldwide, the only thing that's going to have an international stamp on it. So, we have people all over the world. I would say, yeah, probably 30% of our website traffic is from outside of the States, and
Mm.
we do get orders. It just ships from the US, with the international stamp on it. Unless, we have worked with a couple companies in Canada where we've just drop ship orders. So like, we'll write them and then we'll just ship them, and then they drop them in a mailbox or put the stamps on from where they're at.
Oh,
So it looks
interesting.
like so it's local. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so they receive just like a parcel of all the
Hmm.
written note cards, and then
Hmm.
another team on that side will envelope
Hmm.
them, stamp them, etc.
Well, we would put them all together. They would just put a local stamp on it and put it in their post box or mailbox or however they do it, drop it off at the post office. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't need it. You could put it in the envelope and then just stamp it after the
Yep.
fact
Yep.
as it gets there.
Yep.
Ah yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
because like I know, I guess that would be quite interesting. It's like for me as a South African, if they're like, oh, how come I'm getting this from the States if they're in?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. And there's just no way around that, unfortunately. So that's really the only hiccup in I would say, our business is that there's a postmark from Arizona,
yeah.
and most people don't care about it. And I mean, the postmark's kind of faint anyways, but that's really the only like giveaway that this is sent from somewhere else.
Yeah, or it could be like, I cared so much, I sent this all the way to Arizona for you and then back.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, oh, it's traveling in the States, and I sent you a piece of mail. Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned now that you guys are going to year four, you kind of doubling down on the automations and some of the software stuff. Can you talk a bit more about that?
Yeah, so up until now, a lot of the stuff's just been driven through our website or just bulk orders. But I've been a part of every like business group, mentoring group, and I really try to learn from people who've gone before me. So it's a weekly thing. I'm talking to my business mentors, and this business model it seems very simple, but it's very complex because it's
Mm,
a lot of moving parts. So that's the thing I'm talking about, where you have to figure out one or two problems and you got to solve them very well,
yeah.
and you got to scale solving that problem very well. So there's a lot of opportunity when you think about integrating. You just think about just Zapier for an example. Like if we just work with e-commerce websites, I think there's over 2 million, Shopify websites. Even if
Mm,
we got, 2,000 of those, we are a Shopify handwritten note automation company. And we are niching down and we're solving that problem very well, and we're doing it really well. And when you start diving deep into something, you can really start understanding, um, where you can make even better improvements because
mm.
you're in it so deep and you understand it on a deeper level than someone who's just not. They just do it casually. So that's really where we're going to dive in. It's literally the next couple of years. It's going to be Zapier, Integrately. That's another software kind of like Zapier,
Mhm.
Integral Mat. A
Mm,
little bit more developer friendly, or developer. You have to have more of like a coding background,
yeah.
but we're really going to be spending a lot of time in those platforms because the companies that we work with, like they all want to automate it and not necessarily want to do it in a deep integration. They just want it a part of a sequence. They want to, like,
Mm,
as like you said, onboarding. Client comes in, it's a customer journey. What's happening in the customer journey? The emails, the phone calls, the handwritten notes, and we want to be that automation platform. And yeah, I mean, the clients that we're working with, our clients don't want us to tell them, share. There are some clients that don't mind, and they've been very vocal and done interviews for us. We work with one of the largest real estate companies here, in the states. They do over $1.5 billion, in real estate every single year. And they've been using us for 3 years, and
mm.
they're one of our champion clients, that really have kind of helped us. And whenever we need like a tester to do something on our software, they help us out, and they've been great. And that's what you need. You need, you know, loyalty is royalty. And if you can find clients that are loyal and stick with you through that journey of growing a business, you're very lucky. And that's what you have to focus on as an entrepreneur early on, is to find those, early on clients that want to help
Mm.
you and be loyal to you. And that loyalty is going to go both ways. And we've been really loyal about that. But yeah, in terms of where we want to go, we want to niche down, be an automation company. And that's where we're really focusing here going into our fourth year.
No, that's exciting. That's really cool that you said that the property company's been with you pretty much since the beginning. So they've obviously also been through stages of you guys kind of working things out. And like you said, it's become more than just sounds like it's become more than just a client business relationship. It's like you kind of working together
I
on it
think,
a little
yeah,
bit.
I think the clients that I can meet with, they they can see the passion, how much I love what I do, and they like that energy. And I think a lot of people want to work with, consultants or partners who have passion and love what they do, because they're exciting to be around, right? They want to do, what they're doing. They're not, they're not in a bad mood. They're not complaining. They're not sitting there telling you why they don't like their job. Like, I come excited about what we're working on, what we're improving on, what we're building. Like, it's always something new and exciting. And I think our clients, they like that energy. And when you're starting to build like your tribe with that circle of people around you that you keep around you to help, move you forward in your professional career, I think that's what people want to have. They want to have capable, positive, energetic, passionate people, filling the places in their circle. And I think those loyal clients that we have, that's what they see. They're like, man, Rick just loves what he does. This is such a cool technology. He's passionate about it. Like, he dreams about it. He eats it. He sleeps it. Like, he wants it. And they want to work with people like that, not somebody who just checks in at 9 to 5 and they're out, right? Like, if my client calls me at 9, I'm picking up the phone and I'm talking to my client, and like, they love that, right? And that's what they get when they work with me. And not everybody's willing to go that distance. So I bring that to the table every single day, and I think that's what it takes to lift the company off the ground. And that's what I've had to do. With my background, with no coding, no engineering, no development, no nothing. So I've had to go 24/7, 365 for 3 years, and just make it happen.
Yeah. No, I mean, maybe it's just me because I'm a massive like nerd and I'm in the tech world and everything, but it's just such a cool idea. It's just so cool. And then, like we're saying, once you start thinking about, when you learn a little bit more about platforms like Zapier and Tegromat, and just thinking about the interesting use cases, like, there's just so many cool things you can do. It's like, there's almost no way it wouldn't build a better relationship with your client, even if it's just like a once-off thank you, or once-off like happy birthday because you're prospecting, you remember their birthday. It's like, there's no way it's not going to build a bit of a relationship, a bit better of a relationship.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I mean, in terms of relationships, like, we do work with like a plumbing company here in Arizona, and I've known the owner of this company now for a few years, and they do automate handwritten notes after service calls. And he told me the story. He went back to a client's house. It was like 8 or 9 months later, and one of his cards that he automated through his software, for a service call, was still pinned up on the fridge. Like, 9 months later, like, the thank you card from his handyman, like, was still sitting on the fridge. Like, how cool is that? Like, that just doesn't happen. Like, are people printing out text messages or emails and doing that? And we hear stories about that all the time. These people who go and after they talk to them 3 months later, they're still thanking them for that handwritten note that they sent them 3 months ago. And sorry, I don't know if I'm coming off, but yeah, I mean, we hear stories about that all the time. It's about the shelf life. It's about the impact. It's about the level of depth that you're reaching with that client, with your activity, right? You only have so many activities you can do in a day. If it's phone calls or face-to-face meetings, you're trying to get that amount of impact, higher impact with each effort. And that handwritten note, it just hits so hard, and it just sits in their brain, or it sits on their counter or on their fridge for months. They'll never forget it. And the relationships we're creating is powerful.
Yeah, and this also reminds me of, I've been reading a book by Dan Kennedy, the marketer. I'm sure you've come across him, but he's like one of the OG marketers. And he had a chapter in one of the books talking about a person was really also like bullish on the idea of newsletters still. Like, people like, oh, newsletters, but he was like, no, physical newsletters, like, that's where it's at as well, because he was saying the exact same thing as you, in that you pretty much have people are going to look at it. We get so little of physical mail these days that we're like, oh, it's actually cool to get something physical you can just sit and look at, or it's like they've taken the time.
It's a great idea. It's actually a great idea. Like it's instead of a newsletter through an email, um, yeah, that's just gonna get passed over. But if you send them an email, that's a great idea actually. You can do it like a little monthly update of what you're working on, all the different articles
Mm.
you've posted. Yeah, that's a great idea. I like that idea a lot.
Yeah, it's really cool though. I really find it interesting that it's like it used to be like everyone's getting so many mails and people are like, I'm so sick of mails, and the internet comes up and those drop off and everyone's getting out too many emails, and you're like, oh well, now there's no one's getting physical mail anymore. Let's jump on that.
Yeah, exactly. I think everything comes back around too. You think like the 80s and 90s before the internet, like everybody was competing for that mailbox, right? So
Yeah.
you fast forward 30 years as technology and the internet is advanced. There's just, I mean, there's nothing in our mailbox. It's just bills, right? It's just like bad news. It's just like, oh, you
Yeah.
gotta pay your bill, like your monthly bill, right? And so yeah, I think the mailbox is definitely going to come back in style. It definitely did, during the pandemic. Kind of, business, kind of helped out a little bit because people were still trying to engage any way that they could, right? And this is just one way that they could. But yeah, the mailbox is still empty, so it's a place where you can win right now, and stand out a lot easier than other, forms of communication.
Yeah. So I mean, on that note, for people watching and listening now, they're like, "Oh damn, I want to give this a try." Like, how and how long, how do they, and how long would it take for them to get started with Simply Noted to go send their first handwritten or
Yeah,
automated note?
that's a great question. So we've actually built a pretty powerful platform. We do have an e-commerce website, just simplynoted.com. Anybody can go on there and send one card, 10 cards, 10,000 cards. Like you literally just go on, pick a card or create a card, type your message into the address, and you're done.
Yeah.
In terms of our automation tools, we're updating them like every month. So if they want to use like a Zapier integration or API connection, we want to be involved in that just to make sure it's done right.
Mm.
I have a sales background. I have a wife. I wouldn't have a wife if that first date didn't go good. So I look at all my sales and all my clients as dates. I want to make sure that first date goes good. So
Yeah.
that first order, that first integration, I want to help walk you through it, build a relationship, explain things to you. So if they want to use our Zapier integration, they just have to request access to it,
Mm.
and we'll help you set that up. But if you know what Zapier is, you're familiar with it, it's going to take no longer to set up than any other, automation, software that you work with. You just have to have an idea of what to do with Zapier. Otherwise, we'll help you set it up. But yeah, we really tried to build an ecosystem, to from an online to offline, from ordering a product to delivering a product.
Mm.
And we kind of look at it instead of like, even though like we're as much as a physical company, we're a software company. I look at us as more of a like a platform or product as a service, because even though
Yeah.
we're using software, we're delivering a physical product at the end.
Mm.
So yeah, but yeah, you just go to simplynoted.com, order one, or we can help you integrate to a software and you can trigger thousands of cards a day.
Yeah.
It's just really up to your guys' needs.
Yeah, I mean, I think what would be great for people who are keen to check it out now is almost like we initiate a five card challenge to people. It's like baby steps, no jumping into hundreds or thousands cards. They just be like,
Mm-hmm.
we challenge, like right now, you and me are challenging them to go find five clients they've worked with in the past. They have their email addresses, I mean their physical addresses, and just send five automated thank yous to them, saying like, hey, I know maybe it's a bit delayed, but thank you so much for having like
Yeah,
worked with us for this long or whatever. Like I feel like a 5 card challenge would be a good starting point, like a 10 card
yeah.
challenge.
I actually read this book. It's called 365 Thank Yous. We were talking about Ryan earlier, from the other company we were talking about. He actually referred this book, but it's called 365 Thank Yous, and how sending one thank you card a day for 1 year straight will change your life. And it talks about how when you start out, it's kind of hard because like you're just not used to doing it.
Yeah.
But by the time you get to like month 3 or 4, you start realizing how easy it is to thank, almost anybody. If it's somebody at the store you were just at, or somebody, you're working today and you had a good conversation over the phone, it's really easy to find a reason to say thank you.
Yeah.
And over those 365 thank you cards that you send over that year, you start building up, all this appreciation from the receiving end, and reciprocity, right? We were talking about earlier, and it just starts rewarding you and coming back to you. And it's not, you don't start doing it for, getting it back, but it just talks about how this individual's life changed. And I just thought it was a really good idea. It was a really good point, right? Just to, give appreciation and see how that can change your life by just saying thank you.
Yeah, I think it's cool because also I know how good it feels to receive physical cards and thank yous and birthday cards or whatever. So it's like, think about how awesome it's going to be for someone to receive it from you. Like they're going to get that
Mhm.
same feeling as well. So yeah, I think that's a
Yeah.
good challenge for everyone to get started is the 5 to 10 card
Hmm.
challenge from Rick and Gavin.
Well, we'd love to help you guys.
Yeah. But yeah, just to give kind of one little closing thing for everyone. So if kind of just to summarize, like kind of what's the best way for people to reach out to you? Do you have anything you like to specifically direct them to check out?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really active on LinkedIn. So if any of your users use LinkedIn, I'm literally on it all day. So I try to network and talk to everybody and just see how I can, help you guys out. But yeah, LinkedIn's a really good like social platform for me. Otherwise, it's just simplynoted.com. If you go into our website, we actually send free samples. So, a lot of people like want to even see if this is like, if it's really pen written. So if you go to our website, you can actually go to the top right-hand corner of our website and request a sample. And we actually send you a really nice kit. It's like a 9 by 13 folio fold over kit. We send you a bunch of flyers, pricing, handwriting samples, so it's a really in-depth kit. So people feel comfortable with the product that they're working with, because, we don't want, your recipient to think that you're not getting something that's genuine. And that's the whole purpose about what we're doing, is trying to, send a genuine, heartfelt card. And that's why we do this, is to make sure you feel as comfortable as possible before, you decide to work with us. So yeah, you can always go request a sample as well at simplynoted.com.
Awesome. Yeah, I think if anything, that's just a further testament to kind of how excited you guys are to get people involved with this, and also,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But thanks so much for the time today, Rick. I think this is going to be a very cool eye opener for people into regards to what you can do with automation and things in your business that you might not have thought of before.
Thank you. And I appreciate you giving me the opportunity here, Gavin. This was great.
Absolutely. And yeah, we'll include all the links in the bottom so people can reach out to you on LinkedIn and check out the website, and then also just direct them a bit to, again, the free sample kit if they want that. And yeah, it's been awesome having you, man.
Awesome. Thank you so much.